Hi, I'm Morgan with Parenthood Prep, and we are continuing our Sexy Self-Care series. So with me today is a woman who is a chiropractor and nutrition coach, as well as business coach, and who is the mother of 4. So I would like to welcome Michelle. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. And this is such a topic that I love because I think it's often overlooked and something that's really important for, moms, but really everybody in general. So I'm glad you're doing these talks.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you for joining us. I know we took a little while to get kind of connected back and forth, so I'm very happy to finally have you here. And so I just wanted to start out by asking you, when you think of sexy self-care, like what does that mean to you? What does that bring up for you?
I think that when I hear sexy self-care, it's a couple things come up for me. One, I think it's making ourselves a priority. That's the first thing that comes up. And as women, never mind moms, but as women, we just don't do that. We think we have to take care of everybody else. And it's funny, I was actually talking to a patient today about it. And I said, it's all right not to be busy all the time. It's okay. You don't have to be running and always doing something. And I always remember one of my mentors said to me, she said, Michelle, just because you can do a lot doesn't mean you have to do a lot. And I think as women, that's one of the first things that comes to me when I hear sexy self-care is that we actually have to make ourselves a priority. And that comes from, number one, taking care of ourselves, which we often leave to the end. We often take care of everybody else first. And then, if we have time for ourselves afterwards, then we'll look at ourselves. And we also have to make ourselves a priority in that it's okay to have downtime. It's okay to have half an hour where you're not looking after the kids, you're not looking after, your partner, you're not at work, and you can just do your own thing. You can take the time to do what you love. And to me, that's sexy, when you're making yourself a priority and when you are realizing you don't have to be busy doing busy work, that is what allows all the other things to kind of fit in that, we might chat about today, but that's really where I think it starts.
Yeah, I think that's so important to remember, to be able to kind of give yourself permission to take the space. It's so easy if you have, young kids and they get down for a nap, instead of taking the time, to kind of take a break, to be like, okay, I have to, clean the house or get this done or do this work phone call or kind of do all those things, instead of saying like, okay, do I need to rest? Or kind of really listening to your body and giving yourself permission, even though you have things to do, it's okay to take a break.
That's it. And, whether that's to, take a bath or, do what you love to do, it's giving yourself permission to say, okay, you know what, that laundry can wait, or that one thing, can wait, right? You don't have to be doing something all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some ways, kind of, chiropractor and nutrition coach, that's a lot of like taking care of your body to really focus on. So what are some kind of tips we have for our parents out there?
There's a couple great tips that I'd love to share, and some of them sound maybe not so flashy, but they really work. And the first tip that I always give to parents is to schedule. And I know that there's nothing, it might seem unsexy, when you think of scheduling, because it's not maybe so spontaneous. But here's the thing, when we schedule things, and that's, comes down to maybe scheduling meals, to scheduling sex even, to scheduling a date night, that's so important. Most people, they get married, they have kids, and then all of a sudden everything is about the kids. And we forget there's still a relationship here. And this relationship is going to continue when the children leave the home, and we still have to cultivate that relationship. So the first tip, funny that it's not to do necessarily with health in the body, but it's really about scheduling, because when we can start there, then we can have the time to do some of these other things that will give more of that sexy self-care and those tips for parents. So in our house, we do schedule a lot. We schedule who's going to pick up the kids, where the kids are. We do meal plan. I do freezer meals. I do all of that because it frees up a lot of time during the week. Mm-hmm. And then when we free up the time, then maybe more spontaneous things will happen, for one, because we're organized and we're not thinking, oh my gosh, the kids are going to be home in a minute. What are we having for dinner? We can say, well, we already have dinner organized. So, hey, we have ourselves, some free time here or at night, right? So that's the first tip. And even scheduling sex. And I know, again, it's like, oh my gosh, is this woman, an over organizer and controller? But here's the thing. It doesn't mean we have to schedule like the act of having sex, but it's scheduling time to be together. Mm-hmm. Right. And if we don't schedule it, sometimes it doesn't happen because we're busy with the kids, and then, we're busy maybe catching up on our own work from the day. We're busy connecting with friends, family, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So when we schedule it, we can have some fun with it. So tips that I give to parents are things like each person taking a turn, kind of setting the stage for the time together. So maybe that's sending an invitation to the person, about, bring your favorite, toy, or wear your favorite outfit, or, the theme is this, and just to have fun with it. So you can take turns. And when you schedule, you can do that, right? You can take turns kind of setting the tone and creating some excitement into it, because if you've been with somebody for a long time, then you want to do that. You want to create some excitement, and, doing that can help. Also, when we schedule it in like that and kind of set the boundaries, we can also kind of set the tone for our kids. Mm-hmm. And this is also important because I remember doing a call with another person before about like, what do you do if your kids are going to walk in on you having sex, or, walk in when you're doing all this, right? It
is starving for life or something.
I think that's a fear that every parent has. Mm-hmm. But I think when you schedule in and when you make those times for each other, then it also gets a routine going for the children. This is time for mom and dad now. Mm-hmm. And, I think that is a great lesson for life, because we're really teachers and empowerers really for our children, so that they can go out into the world and they can be great people, and they can be great partners for people, and they can have a great life. And so how we do things and how we model things to our children is how they're going to do things. And so being sexy and having a healthy relationship to show your children, I think is really important, so that they see it's normal to kiss and hug and show attention and affection to somebody you love. Right. And it's okay to have private time and to set that up. So, that's kind of one thing that I really do recommend for people.
Yeah, I think I think in my house how easy it is to suddenly realize, like, we have very alternate work schedules and things like that, and suddenly realize, like, we haven't done a family dinner in over a week or something like that. And sometimes we started to really like schedule them in and saying like, okay, these are the days we're going to do family dinners, and even kind of having that connection with your partner during that time. And like, even scheduling nights that like, hey, I'm not going to work this night, because even if you're like, oh, we both have tonight off, we're going to be home. There's things that come up during the day, someone you say, oh, like, I'll call you back tonight and we can talk about this a lot. longer, or I'll send out these emails tonight, or things come up. And if you already have that time kind of set aside, you can just say like, sorry, I'm busy tonight. We can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why setting up a date night is really important. And, you know, that's something you could do with your spouse. We also do it with our children. So we set up time once a month where we're one-on-one with our children, because when you have more than one child, it's hard to sometimes have that alone time. We definitely do that at night before they go to bed, but same thing, right? It's that date night.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for kids to see that we're all going out and doing that. Right.
And like you're making them feel special, and you're modeling that, like, oh, it's so nice when you care about someone to like spend this extra time with them, like one-on-one.
That's right. That's right. And then the second thing that I really give as a tip for parents is managing stress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge one. Stress is something I see all the time in my office. And when we have stress, and unfortunately, I always call it micro stressors now, because we don't have the big stressors. You know, we don't have a bear standing in front of us. We don't have major things happening all the time. We have these little stressors that come in every day. And when these stressors come into our body, then what happens is we start to build that stress up in our body. We start to change physiologically to deal with the stress. And here's the thing, it goes back to caveman. You know, it's kind of joking to say the bear in front of you, but that's really how our response works. So if you're stressed and your body's and your brain is thinking, there's a bear standing in front of you, your body is going to switch to fight and flight. It's going to start generating that stress response. And you know what? Sex is not part of that stress response. You know, your brain
does not make you feel sexy.
No, you know, it doesn't make you feel sexy. And your brain is not thinking, you know, produce the hormones that make you want to have sex and desire. And it's not going to create the hormones that say lubricate. It's not going to make the hormones that make you feel good and feel like you want to be sexy. So stress is such an important part, because if you're in that stress and you're going through those physiological changes, then over time, the desire starts to go down. And that's really where stress plays a role in the intimacy in the family, is for that reason. So how we can deal with stress, there's a couple of different ways we could do it. Obviously, from a chiropractic standpoint, you know, dealing with stress is something that chiropractors do. They help to restore the function of the nervous system. And that's really how we deal with stress, is through our nervous system. So getting to see a chiropractor and having an assessment is a great thing to do. And even if we're not in pain, you know, that sometimes people think, oh, I'm not in pain, so I don't need to go to a chiropractor. But, you know, I see lots of people that are anxious, depressed, and really stress is a major thing. So that's number one. Number two is we can also take supplements that can help with our stress. And when we're doing that, one of the best supplements we can use are called adaptogens. And adaptogenic herbs, they're actually herbs, they really help to neutralize and balance out our stress. And so they're not going to make us super, you know, excited and all of a sudden now we're bouncing off the walls and you know, want to have sex and do all these things.
Not like taking a Viagra or something.
They're you know, going to balance us out. And when they balance us out, then the other hormones like our estrogen, progesterone, our testosterone, all those other hormones can start to rev up, and we could start to get our desire back, and we could start to minimize that stress and move away from fight or flight and now more into repair, regeneration. And that's when the body says, okay, you know what? Now it's time to have sex. Now let's make a baby, or now let's, you know, do all of those things. So the first supplement is adaptogenic herbs. The second supplement that works great is maca root. And maca root, you could take it in a lot of different forms. Lots of people take it and they put it into a smoothie in the morning. And maca root, again, it's kind of like the sex root, I call it. It really does help to enhance kind of our libido. And really, it works for both sexes. So this is a male and a female thing. And it's easy, right? It's simple just to take this supplement. I know lots of people who this has really made a huge difference in their life. So that's the second thing. And then the third supplement that we can really use are just B vitamins in general, and having a good B complex. Again, B vitamins are great for really nourishing our body, so giving us the building blocks in our body, but then also for managing stress and for managing our hormones and different cascades and systems that go through our body. So those are kind of the three supplements that I really stress to people if stress is, part of their situation, because that doesn't make you feel sexy when you're stressed. You're more frazzled, right?
Yeah. Are all of these things like safe to take while pregnant? Because we have a lot of pregnant moms,
Yeah, and that's a great question. So some of the things are safe to take when you're pregnant, and some of the things are not safe to take when you're pregnant. Obviously, you're going to be giving out my information at the end of this. So certainly the best thing to do is, people can email me and I can discuss it a little bit. Also, consulting with their pharmacist. The pharmacist is always the best person to ask. People always want to talk to their doctor, but I really stress to go to your pharmacist, because they know the interactions in the body much better than your, GP or your general physician is really going to know. Right. But yeah, B vitamins, for example, for the most part, and I don't want to say for everybody, but for the most part, everybody can do them. There's always exceptions, and that's why when we are pregnant or nursing, we should definitely be checking with a healthcare professional.
Great.
Yeah. And then another kind of trick that I always share with my parents is to set the mood. And it sounds kind of funny, but I don't know about you and most other people, but for the longest time, especially when my kids were young, my bedroom was really their bedroom, it seems like. Toys everywhere and, laundry, clothes, pictures of them all over the place in the room. And we have to really think of our bedroom as a little bit of a sanctuary. It's really, if you look at feng shui, which is, really Chinese traditional ways that they organize their rooms, they do set their bedrooms up to be kind of that haven and that sanctuary. And we want to do the same. So a couple of key things is, taking the TV out, that's a real sex squisher, is because you may be a little bit tired, you get the TV on, and then all of a sudden you're asleep,
or you just watch TV for hours.
Yeah, and there's no talking. There's just your partner beside you, and you're just lying there, watching the TV, and then you go into a trance, and then sex, it's not going to happen. It's not part. So getting the TV out is a big one. Cleaning the room out from the kids' stuff and keeping it kind of as your room. Putting up pictures about you two, you and your partner, I think are really important. So you can make this a room that is love about you, And then also in the mood, candles. Aromatherapy, using essential oils. Orange, for example, is a great essential oil for really boosting our libido and getting us in the mood. And, so it's having those sorts of things nearby, essential oils that you can maybe put on at dinner time, as you were saying, that dinner that you carved out and scheduled together is, dabbing yourself with a little bit of orange essential oil. So you start to get yourself going, maybe dab it in the inner thigh kind of thing. It does start to get things going. Your partner's going to smell it and be like, okay. And it's kind of a clue for them too, that you're in the mood. It gets them in the mood, right?
Yeah, imagine after kind of doing it a few times, they're like, oh, you're wearing your orange oil? Like, hey.
The code is out, But it's fun, right? And, the kids don't need to know. It's your secret thing. So it's, candles, essential oils. There's some other ones that are really great in that manner. Having nice sheets, just the bed made for that matter. We often rush around But it is that. It's setting the mood. And I say to my moms, pregnant, not pregnant, nursing, sometimes we just have to wear that nice lingerie underneath because it makes us feel sexy, even if nobody's going to see it. And even if we're nursing, and even if we don't feel like it's the body we want right now, just putting on some nice underwear and a nice bra. And if you're nursing, you know what? I know it's hard. We've got all these bras that flip down and open up, and I know it, but it's maybe just getting some nice panties on, or putting a nice house coat over it. Just something that makes you feel sexy. That also is going to add it. And so that's kind of setting the mood, as I kind of say. And that's important because it's most of the sex that we really have starts before we're actually becoming intimate.
Yeah.
Right. And especially for women, our brains, that's where it starts, right? Here. And so that's why stress is so important. That's why taking supplements is so important. That's why scheduling is so important, because we have to get into the brain, the mindset, the okay, yeah, I'm open, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling sexy, I want to. And then our body starts to respond, and then we can go, right? Guys are a little bit different. Their body can respond like that. Yeah. They don't have the same, mind process that goes on as women do. So these things are really important for moms, because it's got to start, earlier in the day. It's got to start as the day goes on. And that's why it's nice to schedule it, because if it's your partner's turn to kind of initiate things or send an invitation, maybe, you're going to get something in the morning that's like, I just can't wait for tonight, or a little note, or a little something, right? And then your brain is going to start getting you in the mood, right? Starting your hormones, getting going, so that when it is your time at the end of the night, you're ready. Your body is kind of in the mood and in the mode to want to produce, everything that you need to have sex, right?
And I feel like sometimes that might even be having that conversation with your partner too, saying hey, you think maybe it's something that they would know, but saying, hey, I just want to remind you that, I can't just turn it on and off like that.
Yes.
This will really help me, kind of throughout the day or beforehand. If you kind of do these little things, or kind of getting in the mood, this will help me, and kind of being well, I want to be more intimate with you. I want to have sex more with you, but this will help me, get there. And so kind of having that conversation with your partner too, I think, sometimes they may just not understand that because their bodies work so differently,
Absolutely. Communication is so essential. And especially if you're a new mom, this to me is one of the most critical times, because your body feels foreign, you've got breasts that they're maybe 5 times what you're used to if it's somebody like me. It's, and you're maybe you've got weight that you're carrying. You've got a baby that might be nursing constantly, and the last thing you want is your spouse to be there, and there's all these things, and guys don't get it. They have to be told. They really do. And this is where the communication comes in, exactly, is to say, you know what, this is not going to do it anymore. I may have liked that in the past. Right now, that's not it. And here's what I do need, and here's what support I do need, because guys want to do that, and they love you, how you look and how you are, and they want to support you. And so just communicating with them of what you need, they're more than happy to do it, because they know what happens in the end, and everybody wins.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is really important. And then the last tip that I really give to people is their general nutrition and diet. That is extremely important. it's not more important than everything I talked about, because all of it's kind of important. But where nutrition comes into play is we have to be healthy in order to really feel sexy. And how I mean by that is we don't have to look a certain way. We can be sexy however suits us and however looks great on us. And that comes in different shapes, sizes, forms, everything. But we do need to be healthy. And when we're healthy, then for one, we can produce the normal hormones we need. We can produce the energy and stamina we need. We can produce, the healthy skin, the healthy lubrication, have the proper sensations, all those sorts of things that are required. And that really starts with proper nutrition. And so, that can be a little bit different for everybody, but there are some common things that we need to look at. Obviously, eliminating sugar, which is a big buzzword everywhere, but it really is one of the most important things. Eliminating sugar, making sure we get enough protein. Moms often, we miss out on that, and actually women in general miss out on it. And it can really help us. In fact, when we're getting good nutrition in, it's going to help our milk supply, right? When we're hydrated properly and when we have the proper foundations, then the milk comes in easier, the milk supply is there longer. And so that's important for the moms listening, that we do have proper nutrition. And it can be simple and easy. That's what I teach people, is it doesn't have to be, now I need 20 ingredients to put into the smoothie, and I got to now make this from scratch, and I got to, do all of these things. I mean, that's wonderful, but I mean, it's not realistic for most people, right. So I teach people simple stuff. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Reasonable things that we can put into our schedule. Right. And, right now, actually, I'm doing an 8-week program that's called Sexy in 60. And it's really about taking 60 days to really look at yourself. And I'm, doing it with a couple of other coaches, where it's looking at mindset, looking at how to meal plan properly and food combine, how to, get exercise in, and how to really create that lifestyle. Because it is important, right? It's important to have a lifestyle that's easy and healthy.
Yeah. And to kind of like keep those habits going, it's like the more you're doing it, the easier it kind of gets to be when it's your routine.
Yeah.
So you said that just started. Are you going to have, can people kind of join in now, or are you going to have another one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. People could join in now. It's just starting right kind of at this time. So it's perfect time for people who are interested in looking in at that. And certainly you'll have that information to send out to people. It's a great time because it's fall, right? So we're just all getting back into our routines, our ways of doing things. And usually I generally do something in the fall. I do something in January again as a reboot, and the spring. Those 3 times I feel are transition times. That's when the seasons change, when we really need to be looking at what the different seasons have to offer, what's in season then. And there's, believe it or not, there's different exercises we should be doing at different seasons. There's different organs that we should be paying attention to. And so they're great times to do it. And that's what I kind of focus on, so that we can have that healthy lifestyle.
Oh, that's so interesting. I want to learn more about that. The different
Absolutely.
So yeah, we will definitely have links to all of your stuff below on the YouTube site, and then when we post it on Facebook and stuff too, so everyone can get connected with you and have all that information. And I just want to thank you for joining us today. It was so great talking with you. And hopefully we can learn more from you in the future. I'd love that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. And as I said, anybody that wants to reach out to ask questions, feel free to ask away.
All right, great. Thank you.